It's where the big stories live. This is Plus TV Africa, and you're watching Tea Time, the hottest entertainment news program. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo, and I'm here with the boisterous Lakwe Banjo and the forever forthright Ife Oshunkeye. Hi, guys.
Hello.
What's up, Tokumbo?
What's new? What's good this afternoon? Anything exciting? Did you find anything?
Well,
Any
Stormy
stories?
Daniels gave a vivid description of President Donald Trump's genitals, and that is just very funny. In his in a new book, Full Disclosure, which she released yesterday, and yeah.
Is that surprising considering her background?
No, not surprising. It is a description that is surprising.
It's the description.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think you need to go and read that for yourself. I really can't talk about that.
I was going to say, even you are blushing. Good heavens. Oh,
I'm
Ife.
blushing?
Yes.
Over another man's genital. Are you kidding? Please stop that.
It's already getting juicy, and we haven't even started. Lakwe, what do you have to say?
Well, on the topic of genitals, there was this whole thing happening.
Yeah.
I think nearby, really.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of begging culture happening in Lagos, Nigeria at the moment, and somebody's
Right.
actually given money in exchange for their genitals. Was it genitals? Was it? Yeah, it was genitals, male genitals. But it was
really?
public. It was on Insta blog.
Oh my days.
Yeah, it was. I find it funny. I didn't believe. My mum also forwarded me the same message on WhatsApp. So
I think it's
Just tell you to be careful so you don't lose your genitals.
I think it's getting
she was
way
definitely
too
not.
juicy now. Maybe we should move on.
Swiftly.
Yeah, I think we should move on swiftly. All right, so on today's episode, it's not business as usual. We have a high-flying studio guest. Yes, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's an actress, she's a scriptwriter, a filmmaker, an author, a fashionpreneur, a businesswoman. Yes, she's the CEO of Dione Visions. She's also one of the women who know how to really rock the red carpet. And the last time we saw her doing that was at the latest movie premiere, where she was draped in a pristine white dress with over a million followers on Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the open-hearted, the opulent, and the outstanding Omoni Oboli.
For a minute there, I was wondering who you were talking about.
It's so good to have you. Thank you very much for honoring us with your presence.
Thank you for having
I
me.
want to start very quickly with your Dubai trip, because I know you were there for a couple of weeks, I presume?
No, we're there for 6 days.
6 days, yes. And you went with the whole...
Yeah.
the Fantastic Four. Well, from what I understand, it's like Chigal was there as well, so it wasn't just the Fantastic
Yes, it was
Four.
Fantastic Four and Friends.
Oh, and Friends. All right. Okay, so how was the trip?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I always say that there is not anything, the only thing more exciting than a trip, just any trip, is a girls' trip. Like, girls' trips are just the ultimate fun, you know, because I mean, when you're here with your girls, everyone's working, you know, you see yourselves every once in a while, but when you're together on a trip, it's like all hell breaks loose, pretty much. So
And what was the highlight for you? Because I saw you guys went to the aquarium.
Yes, we pretty much went everywhere there was anywhere in Dubai, to be honest.
Okay.
For me, I think really it was just being with them. It was experiencing Dubai with them. Because I'd been to Dubai a number of times with my family or with my husband, you know, but I've never gone on a girls' trip to Dubai. So without family, just girls, you know, it was totally different. Seeing Dubai from another point of view, really, you know, it was just amazing.
My co-anchors here have 101 questions they want to ask, so I will let them.
Okay.
Well, I want to begin with a bit of your background. You know, obviously you kind of got into acting early, and I know you went to university and kind of stepped aside and got married and that kind of thing. How hard was that decision for you?
Whew. Okay, so I would be in Lagos, because pretty much everything was happening in Lagos then, in terms of Nollywood. It wasn't called Nollywood then, it was just home video or industry. People just called it whatever they wanted to call it. So I'd be in Lagos on a movie set, and school has resumed, and I sort of have to remain on set, because it started, you can't just go away halfway. And sometimes I would go back to school like 3 weeks into resumption or 4 weeks, and it just wasn't working. I had to make a decision. It was either school or the movies, and I didn't want to be a dropout there. Pretty much everyone was dropping out there. It was kind of cool to drop out, to be honest. But I just felt my mom had worked too hard. The poor woman had suffered, you know, to sort of get me into school, and then I'll just drop out and disappoint her. I said, you know what? It will be there when I'm done. Let me just face school, and then when I finish, I'll come back. Of course, you know, I didn't come back immediately after.
Yeah. All right, so speaking of your background, since we're already talking about school, you studied foreign languages and you majored in French, which resonated. I'm sorry I'm not talking about the talk of the town right now, which is Moms at War, but I really want to know, it resonated in your new movie,
Yes.
Wings of a Dove,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you spoke a little bit of French and you were
Yes.
trying to teach them French. Now, that movie is something I really want to see because I saw the trailer. Tell us about that movie.
So it's a long story, but it started with Wives on Strike Part 1. Yeah. If you recall, in Wives on Strike Part 1, it was a group of local market women who came together to fight the marrying off of an underage girl. Now, it was a topic that was really close to my heart, but we used humor as a vehicle to tell that story. So the women came together to fight for laws to be implemented and all of that. It sort of got the nation to a standstill, used sex. They went on a sex strike to get the nation,
yeah, the PVC thing. You did that with the PVC thing as well.
So, so they used the sex strike to try and get laws implemented to favor the girl child. But I thought it was fantastic. Everyone loved the movie, went to so many places. That movie sort of changed my life in a lot of ways. And I thought to myself, what's the best way to give back to this topic, which is the girl child and child brides? And I felt I didn't do enough for it in Wives on Strike Part 1. I wanted the world to see the girl child. Because we don't really know her experiences. We hear about her, but we don't know her. What does she look like? What does she go through? What are her dreams? What are her aspirations? We really don't know much about it. So I went to Kano and I shot a documentary on this topic where I actually got to interview live child brides and former child brides as well, like older women and who were child brides in their day, And it was just so mind-boggling, And I thought to myself, a documentary is fine. People watch a documentary, but not everybody will watch a documentary. So if I make a movie, it would have more impact because more people would watch a movie than a documentary. Documentaries don't get as much eyeballs as movies get. So I wrote a movie on the topic itself, on the child bride herself, like what she goes through, everything. And I used a lot of the experiences I got from interviewing real life child brides in that film. So a lot of it is based on true stories. I mean, obviously there'll be some fiction because it's a movie, but a lot of it is based on true stories. So really now, Wings of a Dove is about the child bride herself. It's not comedy.
Okay.
It's not funny.
Okay.
It's a very serious story.
And just on the topic of, girl child, and I know you have a charity dedicated to women and young girls, and obviously that is something that's quite dear to your heart, hence why you've, translated that in a lot of your movies. Do you think we've kind of, as a nation, have gone quite quiet on the issue of child brides? Because there was a time, where there was a huge campaign, and we kind of have the tendency of going very quiet.
We do that a lot.
A lot of the times. I mean, I don't know if you know actively what's going on, but what is happening with regards to, changing the laws surrounding that? Because I know, the same-sex law, same-sex marriage or same-sex relationship law is in place where you get 14 years or 7 years if you have any association. But we still have, a very ironic law of child brides.
It's weird. It's very dicey, which is why a lot of people are scared for me with this new film. Because, now it's not comedy. It's like very serious. We're hitting the nail on the head. It's take it or leave it type of film. Now, there are Child Act laws, but they're not implemented by most of the states. So the problem is nobody's pushing them to implement those laws. There are laws. The laws are there, but they're not being implemented. Now, they do have their customary laws, though. And in a lot of these states, in their customary laws, it's fine. It's
allowed, yes.
It's allowed. So now, so which one do you take and leave the other? The Child Act laws are not implemented in those states. Their customary laws, it's fine. So I feel like the silence is because even some people in legislature are guilty.
Sure.
So why try to implement something if we're all sort of low-key doing it? You know what I mean? So it's a major problem. And I know that a movie is worth more than 1,000 words. People tend to believe what they see on screen. So when you pass a message with a movie, it goes a long way. So if we can't tackle it at that level, obviously I can't. I don't have the power to tackle it at that level. I can put in my films. Hopefully God help us, they see it and they respond positively. At least we can work on the communities themselves, which is why I did this movie. And my plan is you know, open it in cinemas, he would do whatever he would do, but then take it to the people who really need to see it, you know.
Absolutely.
Get a mobile cinema and just sort of show it to these communities and talk to them afterwards. That's the plan with this film.
Nice.
So if they stop it on their level, then we've won. You know what I mean? Then we don't really need our guys to at least implement the laws.
Seeing the trailer of the movie, I can't help but wonder, like, when would it be released officially?
So we're still talking with the distributors now. It's not a comedy, so it's a hard sell.
Yeah.
You know, we're still talking with our distributors, and they're saying, okay, maybe we'll get a limited release. You know, I mean, everyone, when I put it out there, everyone's like, they can't wait to see it, they can't wait to see it, they can't wait to see it. Well, you know, we already know that Nigeria has had enough the way it is. People want to go to the movies and just have a good time. Nobody wants to see anybody suffering, you know what I mean? Which is what you would see in the film. I'm not even going to paint a brilliant picture or whatever. I'm not going to paint a colorful picture. It is what it is. It's as it is.
Okay.
Which is the child brides and not having fun.
Okay. So I want to ask a question, but before I do, we want to take a quick break, and then when we return, we'll be carrying on with our exciting conversation with filmmaker Omoni Oboli. Stay here.
Hey guys, Abayomi Alvin here, Nollywood actor. You keep on watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. And you know what's up? Big stories live here.
That money we shoot every person that we know we can shoot. We don't let people die there.
You could have killed me for a long period of time.
That time why I carry gonorrhea. I first go hospital first, but it didn't no go. Now I come make that mama.
He just pulled it, he pointed and shot.
What is the soul of a man?
They suffer too much. They suffer too much.
Issues around the Nigerian police. We have to tackle it holistically.
Hi, my name is Abike Domina. Keep watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome back. You're watching Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa. Up next is a continuation of our chat with actress and scriptwriter Omoni Oboli. So when we took the break, you know, we were having this chat, and I thought, you know, maybe you should continue. Though I had a previous question, but I'm sure that before the end of this conversation, I would get a chance to ask my question. You know, so tell us a little bit more about what
on the topic of child brides. What kind of inspired you to? I mean, I know you have vested interest in women and children, especially in a society like this where they're not kind of priorities. Why child brides?
Well, it's like an elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it. You know, we keep sweeping it under the carpet. You know, it somehow will go away. It's not going to go away if we don't tackle it.
Especially if we don't see it in our faces all the time.
Exactly. It's not in our faces. So people don't think about it. But when you put in a movie, it's like it's at the fore now. We have to have this conversation.
What do you think was the most kind of shocking thing you saw or heard, or that you were taken aback by? Because I'm sure that experience must have been really, you know, tormenting.
When I was shooting the documentary, I was just saying before we came back, there was a young girl who was 13 and she was divorced already. Wow. Married and divorced. You know, and I'm like, how?
Does this impact their mental health in any way? Because, I mean, of course, you know, having a child marry, you know, men that are kind of old enough to be their fathers, sometimes grandfathers. Do you think that, you know, the area of mental health is explored on children? Because we don't talk about mental health full stop, let alone the effect of this on young children.
So, I mean, they're not happy. I don't know if they're all the way depressed, but they're not happy. A lot of the ones I spoke to would even cry in the course of the conversation. They would just start crying. They're not happy in any way, shape, or form. You know, so there's no way it's not affecting their mental health. No, I mean, being raped every time your husband sleeps with you, it's rape because you don't want it.
I don't know if you saw the BBC documentary. Sorry, I'm focusing a lot on child brides because it's just quite important.
I know.
I don't know if you saw the BBC documentary on codeine. And a lot of the people that they kind of, you know, shed light on were young women in the north. Did you witness anything? Did you see any correlation between you know, abuse of drugs and, you know, the effect of that as a result of being a child bride?
So my point of view on that is they're not happy. So it's an escape.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. Yeah. So let me just zone out. If I zone out, I'll be fine. That's what it is. You know, I feel like if they're happy, their lives are fulfilled, why would anybody want to do drugs?
Okay, let me ask you my question before we run out of time, because it's a complete digression from what we're talking. You know, so I want to talk about Moms at War. For me, the highlight was the swimming pool fight. So I want to quickly talk about that. True. You know, because I enjoyed it. It was absolutely hilarious all the way through. It was comedy, and was like, if I get the chance of asking you any question, I would want to ask about that. Was it in any way, shape or form related to Dynasty, you know, from way back? Because Dynasty was a television series that featured people like Joan Collins. I don't know if you ever watched that. Okay, it was similar, so I thought maybe that's where you got inspiration.
I never saw it.
Oh, I see. No. But were you the script writer for this one as well? Okay, so who was the script writer?
Naz Onuzo.
Oh, I see. So I'm thinking perhaps he had, because
I never saw it.
Oh, I see. Okay, so in that case, you probably wouldn't be able to answer my question properly. Okay, so moving on to other things, you know, you're a CEO, you know, you're a philanthropist, you're an actress, you know, and you do a lot of things. How do you juggle it all up?
It's so tough.
So how do you do it?
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that it's easy. Some days I'm like pulling my hair out, like, who sent me? Like, I do all of these things. But then, you know, when you have all that in you, I always say, I don't want to die and go to heaven. And God would say, I gave you all of this. What did you do with it? Oh, I just wanted to be an actor. Or I just wanted to be a director, you know. So I feel when you're young, that's the time to do everything that you want to do, or everything you feel you can do, you know. So I'm one person that I know what I can do and I know what I can't do. If I tell you I can't do it, I can't do it. That's it. Don't leave it. But if I say I can do it, I will find any way to do it. You know, so God has placed all of those things in me. So I sort of just find a way. I always say, I've got to do what I've got to do. I've got to be a wife, a mom, an actor, a director, a writer, whatever. I just have to find spaces in my life to do all of those things. So,
yeah. Speaking of a writer, you have a book, The Stars Are Ageless, right? And it just, apart from the fact that you have good looks and all that, you have also been able to sustain your marriage for 17 years. How has that been for you? Because we know it's not easy. Every now and then we have Nollywood actors and actresses having marital issues, but you seem not to have any of that. And then obviously the stars are ageless.
Well, it's actually 18 years now, but
okay.
Yeah.
I'm 1 year behind. I'm still in 2017.
No, it's fine, because you're actually kind of right. Because our court marriage and our white wedding, there was a long gap.
Okay.
Like maybe almost 10 months, thereabouts. So you're actually kind of right. So our white wedding, it will be 18 in October. Yeah. So, well, my husband is my friend. That's what it is.
I could tell. I saw the both of you dancing in the dancing competition.
You saw me cheering him. He was dancing. I was just jumping. People that saw me, they were like, why are you just jumping up and down? So anyways, we've decided we're going to do this. We're going to be in this. It's not as if we don't have issues. Everyone has issues. Nobody should lie to you. There's no perfect marriage out there. It doesn't exist, period. Because people are different, fundamentally different. Even twins are different. Not talk of two people from two backgrounds. Like, when my husband and I got married, we fought for 1 month, like every day. Like, at this point I was like, are you kidding me? Hey, I don't know. I'm going. I don't want to do it again. You know. And I was young. I was really, really young. I got married at 21.
Wow.
So I was like, I'm not doing it again, I'm done. What is this? You know? So anyways, we came to a point after that 1 month of fighting, we're like, okay, are we going to fight for the next 50 years? Because we both know that there's no divorce in our books. If we're going to be together, we have to make up our minds that first of all, this kind of year fight will stop. And then we have to agree to disagree on certain things. The one that we cannot agree on, say, okay, I don't agree, okay, leave it. Take your own, I take my own, everybody go their way, you know. But we decided we're going to be in this and we're going to be happy in it. There's no point being together for that long if you're not going to be happy. It doesn't make sense. And if you decide you're going to be happy, then you have to look over certain things.
Yeah.
You know, it's not everything that you quarrel about. You might not like it, but it's okay. That person is not you. You two, you have your own. You know, so we just had to come to that point.
Yeah. So do you think the movie and the Nollywood industry is a contributory factor to crashed marriages in Nollywood, considering the sexual harassment part and sex for roles and all of that?
I don't think so. I think the reason why we hear about it is because those people are in the limelight. Marriages are crashing everywhere. In the banking sector, in the medical field, marriages are crashing everywhere. You just don't hear about it because they're not in the limelight. You're hearing about these ones because they're in the limelight. That's just it.
Okay, sure.
What advice would you give to anybody that is trying to, kind of following your footsteps in terms of script writing, directing, and as well as what was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it as well? So what would you advise on how to overcome the obvious challenges that are in this industry?
Okay, so because there's so many different parts to that question, I'm not sure which one I'm going to answer first. I think the first thing is to be sure this is what you want to do. Because it's not easy at all. That's the honest truth. It's not a walk in the park. You're not going to come into the industry and become a star overnight. It happens every once in a while, but it's so few and far between, it probably won't happen for you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's a long walk to fame or whatever, if that's what you're looking for. So you've got to be sure that that's what you want to do. Because the money will be very few and far between in the beginning as well. So you've got to have some sort of backing. You have to maybe have money saved up or have another job that you're doing that is making you money. Don't just quit your job and say, I have passion for acting, I want to go and act. You will suffer. That will kill you. That's just the honest truth. No, let's be honest. Because people think, oh, I'm just going to go into acting. Now, this person is a star. They're driving this big car. Blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many years it took them to get there? They've probably been at it for over a decade. So, you know what I mean?
So when you started, what kept you going?
So when I started then, I was a teenager, I was in university, the money wasn't really the focus at all, so it was just, let's get the next role, let's just do it. It was fun, it was exciting, Then I left it, obviously, for 10 years after uni, because I got married and started having kids. I wasn't even in Nigeria at a point. So coming back was so difficult. It was like, first of all, you are new. You can't do something 10 years ago. You think you just come back, people will remember you. Nobody remembered me. I was new, trying to get in. Now with 3 kids, so it was like so tough. So one of the things that helped me was the fact that I wrote scripts.
Okay.
And so I would bargain, take the script, don't pay. Just give me a role. Just let me be inside the film. You don't have to pay me. Okay. So I did that a few times. I got a few roles, I was just tenacious.
Okay.
I refused to. There were so many no's, it was not even funny. Like I would cry. Hot tears.
Did you count your rejections? Because a lot of people count their rejections. Like they had 30 rejections before they had
I can't even count. There were too many.
Okay.
They will give you a role like this. There was one that really hurt me. They gave me a role. It was like the lead role. I was so happy finally, and this thing is happening. I got to set already the next day to shoot. They are taking my role from me and giving it to someone else.
Okay, speaking of roles.
Hey. Cry. I was bawling my eyes out, But they gave me another role. It was now a supporting role. But I wanted the lead role, So I cried and cried and cried. The production manager now said to me, this role is also good. Just give it everything you have. Don't worry. Do you know that film? People don't remember the lead character.
It was you. So this was like a divine kind of
Jennifer Hudson moment.
I'm telling you.
Since we're talking about movie roles now, a few months ago you were dragged in between a fight between 2 Nollywood actresses, Mercy Aigbe and.
To be honest, I don't even know I don't know what happened there. I don't even know if it was a fight really.
Or they are back and forth on social media over the release of your book and. Allegedly, I'm saying this now to get clarity. Allegedly, you had this issue with Toyin Abraham because she was in one of your movies and you took her out and you gave her role out to someone else. Did you also?
No. No, Toyin starred in Whites on Strike, The Revolution. That's part 2. That's it. Oh, now I see what you're talking about. Toyin starred in Whites on Strike, The Revolution.
Yeah.
Mercy was in Whites on Strike, the series. Okay. Not totally unrelated.
Okay, because
totally different roles. Whites on Strike, the series was shot long before Whites on Strike, The Revolution, but people didn't know.
Because the thing
long before.
The thing that was out there was that you gave Toyin's role out. That's why Toyin is mad at you, and then she's mad at Mercy. You know how the internet gets. So
Trust
I just
me,
wanted clarity.
I was whatever that was.
Yeah.
I wasn't inside it. I don't know how. So
what's your relationship with Toyin Abraham
I'm
and
cool
Mercy?
with both of them. Absolutely.
Okay.
Because at the point I'm like, I don't understand. People are tagging me. What's going on? I was not even in the country. I was like, I'm just, how when you open your feed and you're seeing so many tags, I'm like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? So I was like, Tony, what's going on? Messi, what's going on? What's going on? You know, they're like, oh, don't worry, it's sorted now. So
well, they came out later to say they were joking about it. So I guess maybe it was a movie they were planning to shoot. So.
Maybe.
All right. That's where we're going to have to wrap up on Tea Time this afternoon. Join us tomorrow for brand new episodes of Tea Time. Until then, a big thank you to my co-anchors, the entire production team, and last but most certainly not least, our studio guest, Omoni Oboli. Thank you very much for coming. All right. Until next time, I remain your presenter, Tokumbo Taiwo, saying goodbye. I always say goodbye in one foreign language or another, so today it's going to be in Italian. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All righty. Arrivederci.
O dabo.